Have you ever felt the quiet panic of bills piling up? That weight in your chest, knowing you owe more than you own? Do you wish you could finally breathe without fear of the next payment? What if I told you that the ancient philosophers, long before banks, loans, and credit cards, had already discovered the path to true financial freedom? Not through shortcuts or luck, but through mastery of the mind. In this video, we'll uncover how timeless wisdom from Stoic, Epicurean, and Eastern thinkers can help you escape the trap of debt, not just on paper, but in spirit. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to Ancient Aphorisms to get timeless truths for a victorious life. Now let's begin with a truth that can change everything. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Epictetus. Lesson 1. The illusion of more. Debt often begins not with poverty, but with desire, the endless hunger for more. The Stoics warned that craving without reflection leads to chains. Seneca said, "It's not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Every debt starts with a decision driven by emotion, a wish to appear, to compete, or to comfort ourselves. We tell ourselves we deserve it. We confuse comfort with freedom. But each impulsive purchase is a silent contract, not just with money, but with our peace. When you pause and question why you buy, you start paying off the deepest debt, empathic, the debt to your impulses. Freedom begins not when you earn more, but when you want less. The ancients saw desire as a flame. If you feed it recklessly, it burns your house down. If you master it, it warms your life without consuming it. Learning to desire wisely is the first repayment on the loan of peace you owe yourself. Lesson 2. What's within your control? Epictetus divided life into two realms, what's up to us and what's not. Interest rates, the economy, or even past mistakes, none of these are within your control. But your spending, your discipline, and your mindset are entirely yours to command. Debt traps you when you chase what's beyond your control. Freedom begins when you shift your energy back to what's within reach. Ask yourself daily, what can I change today that doesn't depend on anyone else? Maybe it's cooking instead of ordering out. Maybe it's canceling a subscription that no longer serves you. Or maybe it's facing your financial truth without shame, because courage, too, is within your control. You don't need perfect conditions, just personal command. Lesson 3. Simplicity is strength. Marcus Aurelius lived in palaces, yet practiced simplicity. He wrote, "A man's worth is measured by the things he can do without." Ask yourself, what if wealth isn't about accumulation, but sufficiency? When you simplify, your expenses shrink, your anxiety quiets, and your mind clears. Debt loses its grip not because you earn more, but because you need less. Look around your home. How many things once promised happiness but now collect dust? Each unused item is a symbol of misplaced hope, a reminder that peace was never for sale. Simplicity isn't deprivation, it's subtraction with intention. It's the art of living light enough to move freely through life. When you stop buying to impress and start spending to express your values, your life begins to breathe again. Lesson 4. Redefine pleasure. Epicurus taught that pleasure isn't found in luxury, it's found in the absence of pain. He believed the highest form of joy was a tranquil mind. But our culture reverses that, convincing us that more consumption equals more contentment. Debt is the modern version of ancient slavery, not to a master, but to desire itself. We think we own our possessions, but often they own us. True pleasure costs nothing because it's born from gratitude, not greed. A quiet meal, a warm evening breeze, time with someone you love. These are pleasures the rich and poor share equally. When you begin to savor the simple, debt loses its power to tempt you, because you no longer seek escape, You find satisfaction right where you are. Lesson 5. The discipline of delay. The Stoics saw discipline not as restriction, but as liberation. Every time you delay gratification, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your impulses. That strength compounds like interest, but in your favor. Before any purchase, ask, will this bring lasting value or just momentary escape? If it's only a quick escape, it's another form of debt, emotional debt. Every pause is a small act of rebellion against the modern world's command to consume. Each time you resist, your will grows stronger, and your freedom expands. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That strength, applied to your finances, can rebuild your life from the inside out. Lesson 6. Turning debt into a teacher. Don't hate your debt, study it. Each number on your statement tells a story about what you once believed would make you happy. Learn from it. Seneca called misfortune training for the soul. Debt can train yours to be wiser, more intentional, more aware of your needs versus your wants. Each repayment isn't punishment, it's practice. A slow, steady march toward the kind of person who no longer runs from discomfort, but transforms it into discipline. Every payment, no matter how small, is a declaration. I choose progress over paralysis. You are not your balance. You are the behavior you choose next. Lesson 7. Build your circle of clarity. Epictetus warned against keeping company with the wasteful and the restless. He said, if you live with a lame man, you will learn to limp. Surround yourself with people who value purpose over possessions. If you can't find them nearby, read them. The ancients are still speaking through their words. Seneca, Epicurus, Confucius, their minds are eternal mentors waiting for your attention. The company you keep shapes your desires. Choose companions who remind you of who you want to become, not who you're trying to escape. The path out of debt is not just financial, it's social, spiritual, and mental. It's the courage to walk a quieter road in a noisy world. Lesson 8. Freedom as a daily practice. Freedom isn't a one-time event. It's a daily decision. Each time you say no to an impulse, you say yes to independence. Each time you save a little, you buy back a piece of your time, your most precious currency. Debt is heavy, not because of numbers, but because of worry. When you learn to act with intention, you lighten that weight. Even before the balance is gone, peace begins to grow. True wealth is not measured in accounts, but in agency. An agency is built through 1,000 quiet choices that no one applauds, but all accumulate into power. Lesson 9. Turn your mind into a fortress. The Stoics taught that while fortune can strip you of everything external, property, income, status, your reasoned mind remains your last and greatest possession. They believed that the one who rules his desires rules the world. When you find yourself anxious about debt, remember, numbers on a screen can only torment you if your mind lets them. Detach your identity from your finances. You are not your mistakes, nor your credit score. You are a mind capable of growth, of learning, of self-command. The moment you decide to face your debt without shame, you already begin to transcend it. Because most of the suffering comes not from owing money, but from the stories you tell yourself about what that means. Change the story, and the burden begins to lift. The debt becomes not a prison, but a teacher, refining your strength, your patience, and your self-respect. Lesson 10. The balance between effort and acceptance. Lao Tzu, the ancient Chinese sage, once said, "He who knows that enough is enough will always have enough." This isn't an excuse to stop striving. It's an invitation to right striving. Work hard to pay off what you owe, but don't poison the journey with self-loathing. Effort without acceptance leads to exhaustion. There will be setbacks, unexpected bills, slow months, temptations. meet them calmly. The goal isn't perfection, it's perseverance. Each small victory, each bill cleared, each purchase resisted is a step towards sovereignty. Debt loses power over the person who refuses to be emotionally defined by it. Lesson 11. The value of gratitude. Gratitude was central to almost every school of ancient philosophy. The Stoics practiced it daily as a shield against envy and discontent. They wrote not about what they lacked, but what remained. Even in debt, there is something to be grateful for. Health, the chance to work, a roof, a mind capable of learning from mistakes. Gratitude turns scarcity into sufficiency. When you start and end each day acknowledging what you still have, you weaken the voice that says, "It's not enough." That voice feeds debt. Gratitude starves it. Seneca once said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." Let that become your new economy, one where peace is the highest currency. Lesson 12. The mirror of money. The philosophers would remind you that money itself is not evil, it's a mirror. It reflects your relationship with desire, fear, and self-control. The problem is never the coins, but the craving. Money amplifies who you already are. Give it to the wise, and it multiplies goodness. Give it to the reckless, and it multiplies chaos. So, rather than chasing money, cultivate the wisdom that knows how to use it well. When wisdom grows, wealth naturally follows, not as greed, but as stewardship. As the Buddha said, "Rule your mind, or it will rule you." This is true of thoughts and equally true of finances. Debt is a form of rule, but one that weakens the moment your mind wakes up. Lesson 13. The new definition of freedom. Ask yourself, what does freedom mean to you? Is it earning more or needing less? Is it having everything or being content with what's enough? True freedom, the ancients taught, isn't the absence of limits, it's the absence of dependence. To depend on external things for happiness is to live in quiet bondage. To depend only on your own reasoned will, that is freedom. When you live with intention, every purchase becomes a statement of values, not vanity. You stop living by impulse and start living by design. And gradually, debt becomes not a cage, but a chapter. One that taught you to value restraint over indulgence, clarity over chaos, peace over possessions. Lesson 14. Make it your daily philosophy. Every time you choose to budget rather than binge, every time you choose contentment over comparison, you're living philosophy, not reading it. The ancient thinkers never meant their words to be theories. They were meant to be practiced, tested in the fire of daily life. So, when you're tempted to give up or sink back into old habits, remember, your financial recovery is your philosophical practice. You're training your mind the way a Stoic trained his reason, through repetition, reflection, and courage. Each day is a new chance to say, "I will not be ruled by desire. I will not mistake wealth for worth. I will live lightly, wisely, and free." A final reflection. The philosophers remind us that external freedom begins with internal mastery. To escape debt is to escape the tyranny of desire. The truly rich person isn't the one who has, but the one who needs nothing. Seneca wrote, "He who is contented is rich." Comment below and write, "From now on, I choose freedom over desire." Let that be your public commitment to a new way of living, one guided by wisdom, not want. If this video from Ancient Aphorisms helped you see depth through a new lens, Share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Subscribe for more ancient lessons for the modern mind. And remember, peace isn't purchased, it's practiced. Stay mindful, stay minimal, and above all, stay free.